In this video, I'm going to react to 20 comfort foods from around the world. Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of Kabir Considers. This is the place where I react to music, media, sports, anime, anything related to popular culture. I'll watch it with an open mind and give you my 100% honest reaction to it. And if you could please hit that like button early, I'd really appreciate it. Now this is going to be a lot of fun just because everybody knows that when it comes to these food reaction videos, these are probably my real weakness, my kryptonite you could say. There's just something about food, like I know that we shouldn't live to eat, we should eat to live, but food for me is a big, enjoyment of mine. Like I love trying new dishes, I love going to new restaurants, trying different cuisines. There's just something exciting about ordering something you've never ordered before at a restaurant. You're wondering, what's it going to look like? Is it going to taste great? So food definitely I find really enjoyable, especially comfort foods, like the kind of meal that you can always rely on to just like fill you up. You're going to enjoy it. Like for me, I love a big bowl of spaghetti bolognese with heaps and heaps of Parmesan cheese. Like I just love that. Other dishes like a jollof rice with roasted chicken. There are. I think everybody has those dishes that old favorites of theirs that they can eat just repeatedly if they had to. So yeah, this food's. So yeah, this video is going to show me, 20 different ones from around the world, which is going to be interesting because obviously different countries and cultures are going to have different dishes that they, value and, eat traditionally. So yeah, this is going to be a lot of fun. So let's go. This is going to be me reacting to 20 different comfort foods from around the world. Let's do it. Ooh, look at that.
In these stressful and uncertain times of quarantine, people from all over the world are seeking comfort in food. Comfort food can fix any bad day. It's typically high in
Look at those meatballs, baby.
sugar, fat, and or salt. And the beauty of comfort food is that it varies from person to person. It's rooted in where you're from and who you grew up with. We asked 20 people from different cultural backgrounds to share what comfort food is to them. I'll start with mine. My favorite comfort food is kimchi jjigae or kimchi stew.
Nice.
I'm Korean American, and growing up, my mom made kimchi jjigae
Ooh, look at that. That looks divine.
pretty often for dinner. My mom's kimchi jjigae has that sonmat. Sonmat in Korean means like hand taste. The best way I can describe it is my mom's special touch. Even if I try to make my mom's kimchi jjigae here in New York City, I can't get that taste because it lacks my mom's special touch.
Oh wow, look at that. This is the kind of dish that I like. Just a ton of meat, some veg, a lot of sauce, a little bit of garnish. Oh baby.
So basically the flavors that you're getting are like spicy, salty, fatty, sour. It's basically everything that I crave when I'm missing my mom.
I'm Nigerian, and one of my favorite comfort foods has to be amala and okra soup.
Oh yeah, this is a great one. One of my favorites, and one of my mum's favorites as well.
To make it, you take some yam flour and you pour it into
boiling
hot water.
Mix it
Stir
up.
it up very quickly, and it gets to this nice thick consistency. From there, you portion it out to whatever size you'd like for your meal, and then you can dip it into your soup of choice. And not only is it a super tasty meal, but after you eat it, it hits you and it puts you in one of those nice food comas.
Yeah, definitely.
I remember sneaking into the kitchen as a toddler and trying to tear off small pieces of amala or like the ear seeds that they put in the soup and taking it back to my plate. So of course now, anytime that I have it, I just automatically think of home.
I'm Trinidadian. My favorite comfort food is bacon saltfish. Bacon saltfish is a dish comprised of bake, which is dough rolled out, and a fish called bacalao. It's a salted cod that we chop up, we boil, and we saute with sweet tomatoes and sweet onions. I think it's my favorite comfort food just because it brings back a memory of my grandmother. She used to own a daycare, and whenever she was making something with dough, like bake, she would roll up little pieces of the dough and give
Yeah, that's the thing. A lot of these comfort foods, or most comfort foods probably just bring you back to a certain memory, a cherished memory from maybe a childhood. Yeah, good times.
To the children to play with, and we would just go crazy for those little pieces of dough.
My favorite Haitian comfort food is griot. Griot is fried pork shoulder that has a special cut where it has just the right amount of fat and just the right amount of skin on it. You would season it well, bake it briefly, and then fry it. So after that, it'll get that nice crispy on the outside.
Oh man, any kind of meat that's like fried, obviously after it's been seasoned, like I'm very much a savory guy. I love desserts obviously, but savory I think is probably my favorite kind of meal.
And on the inside taste. I can remember being as a child, at every Haitian gathering, family party, if you had griot on your plate that night, you knew it was gonna be a good night.
My comfort food has always been pastina, which is like a really unhealthy version of Italian wedding soup. It has no vegetables, it's really just pasta and meatballs. So the way that my mom makes her meatballs is really what I always crave. She does a mix of ground pork, ground beef, and ground veal. And then she adds in just 5 ingredients. So the 5 ingredients are salt, pepper, garlic powder, parsley, and cheese. It's not just like Parmesan cheese, it's always Pecorino Romano cheese. That's like the go-to key ingredient. Whenever I go home or whenever I'm like sad or sick or whatever, that's what I want my mom to make me, or that's what I like want to eat.
I'm from New York and my favorite comfort food is grilled cheese. Growing up as a picky eater,
oh my god, look at the gooiness. Oh man, it's just hit me like that I've not eaten yet. Just look at the gooiness and the crispiness of that toast.
The number one thing I could get from every single family member and every single restaurant, and it be almost the exact same every single time. So today when I make grilled cheese for myself, I just use white or wheat bread, and I'll use white American cheese. It reminds me of being best friends with my mom.
I'm Allison Brown, and today we're going to talk about beef patties because that's my favorite Jamaican comfort food. Growing up, my father used to bring home like a box of beef patties, and he used to put them on the table, and it was first come, first serve, and if you did not get your beef patty, you would be tight. I love beef patties because of how diverse they are. You could get a beef patty, a callaloo patty, a ackee patty, any type of patty. My family is Jamaican. They're from Jamaica. I'm American. I was born here. But when we go to Jamaica, it's over. The patties are like hot and ready. They're delicious.
I'm from New York. I'm Dominican, and my favorite comfort food is mangu. Mangu is basically like mashed potatoes, but instead of potatoes, it's plantains, and it's a breakfast food, so most Dominicans will eat it in the morning. Mangu is typically eaten with cebollas on top, which is onions, queso frito on the side, which is fried cheese, salami, which is a type of meat, and usually like some people will get a fried egg on it. Personally, I love eggs, so I always get it on it. The reason why mangu is my favorite comfort food, besides the fact that it's delicious,
it looks so great. What's there not to like? Fried egg, fried cheese, fried salami. Oh, yes.
Is because it just reminds me of being in the Dominican Republic and just like being around great weather, sunny, like just an all-around great vibe.
My comfort food is pepperpot. It came from Guyana's first people known as the Amerindians. Pepperpot is a meal that is boiled with casserole and spices and any choice of meat, but my personal favorite is beef. It can be eaten with anything: bread, cassava bread, rice, anything you would like.
Look at how rich and thick that sauce is. Man, I'm actually drooling. Oh my god, because obviously she's boiled it down probably for a couple of hours, so all of the flavors have intensified and just mixed and merged together, all of the different ingredients. Oh my word.
Like, pepperpot reminds me of Christmas time and all the family time and our rich culture in Guyana.
My favorite comfort food is congee, a type of rice porridge. It's often eaten with yao zha guai, also known as a Chinese donut. There are also many different types of congee. I've had it plain, with dried scallops, with preserved egg and salted pork, and just white fish. Growing up, my mom would make this for breakfast some days, and she would also make it for me when I was sick and I couldn't keep any solid foods down. My mom passed away in January of 2018, so the process of making congee and eating it reminds me of her love, her dedication, and her patience as my mother.
I'm Mexican American, and my favorite comfort food is tamales. Every year, my grandma and her sisters get together and they all make tamales for us.
Well, it looks a bit like a tortilla, but like without the actual tortilla. If you, I've just done a terrible job of explaining what I mean.
To eat on Christmas Eve, so it really reminds me of home and of Christmas time and of my family, so it's really special. My family makes the dish with shredded pork in a red chili sauce with green olives. Basically, right now, only my grandma and my aunts know how to make it, but they've started to teach me and my mom and my sisters how to do it, so that way we can pass it on to the next generation.
Nice.
My favorite comfort food is marmite on toast.
Here we go. We're getting to the local cuisine. Ours is just so unsophisticated compared to all of the other ones.
It's really rich, really savoury, and quite salty
So
flavour.
good.
And it's just really comforting, especially when it's put on some thickly buttered toast.
Oh.
I have very vivid memories of eating marmite on toast, particularly when I was feeling a bit sick. I had an operation when I was 3 years old. I went under general anaesthetic. When I woke up, the nurse said, "Is there anything we can get you?" And my first request was marmite on toast.
My favorite comfort.
Marmite on toast is it's one of those meals that students eat a lot of because it's so cheap. You know, a loaf of bread here, decent bread you can get for like 90p, maybe £1. You know, a jar of Marmite's about £2, and that jar will last you for ages. So, cheap student food.
Comfort food is griot, or Thai noodle soup. Thai noodle soup is the Thai equivalent of what deli sandwiches is to New Yorkers, and you can customize each griot order to be your own. My go-to order is griot pet, so duck noodle soup with senmi, which are the rice noodles that are thinner than the ones you have in pho. And I only will eat it in this one noodle shop, and I refuse to have it elsewhere because they just make it so special.
Oh, man.
And it sucks because I can't really replicate that experience in any Thai restaurant here since they don't really specialize in that.
My favorite comfort food are Colombian arepas. Arepas are cornmeal patties. They're typically made with salt, water, and arepa. This is my favorite comfort food because when I was a kid, my dad and I did not have matching schedules at all. So by the time we would get home, I was already sleeping, and we wouldn't see each other till the weekend. And at the weekend, our favorite family time activity.
That stretchiness of the cheese, guys. Honestly, I know I'm obsessed, but it just looks so good.
Was to make arepas. It was also the first meal I learned how to make. So we're gathered in our tiny kitchen, mold them together, put in a stovetop, and then once they were ready and hot, my dad would put butter on top, sprinkle it with a little bit of cheese, and it was delicious, and it's still one of my favorite meals.
My favorite comfort food is Puerto Rican pasteles de yuca. In Spanish we call it a masa, like a roll kind of thing that has like, you can put stuff in it, so you can put like meat, chicken, you can put vegetables, and then they wrap it around a banana leaf, and then they boil it. And we make them in bulk. It takes 2 to 3 days to make.
Wow.
It's my favorite comfort food because my aunts and my mom, they sit around, we talk, and they're making this dish that is so reminiscent of our Puerto Rican culture.
My comfort food is lahmacun. It's a thin flatbread, almost like pizza, that's enjoyed in and around the Middle East. It's typically made by taking small dough balls and
Did you see that machine? I have to see that again. That little arm that was just like cutting it. That was really cool.
In the Middle East. It's typically made by taking small dough balls and flattening them into really thin pieces, and then it's topped with beef or lamb, some vegetables and spices, and then it's cooked in the oven for just a few minutes. My family and I typically buy a dozen or so of them from Armenian bakeries or grocery stores here in LA because they make them really tasty.
My comfort food is ají de gallina. It's a spicy chicken mixture that my grandma used to make all the time. A yellow pepper that's found in Peru, ají amarillo, is mixed with, you saute some onions, then you're gonna add some chicken broth, milk, and crackers or bread. It's a nice little paste sauce. And then with some boiled chicken that you shredded. Ají de gallina reminds me of just Peru in general, living there. My grandfather had 50, 80 chickens, and my grandma would just grab one and it would be fresh.
I'm British Pakistani, and my favourite comfort food is a dish called aloo ki tarkari. The reason I love this dish so much is because it's a curry. It's very carby as opposed to one with lots of gravy. My mum usually adds to it aloo, potatoes, mirch, chili, namak, salt, haldi, turmeric, and then she adds something called banj paran.
I guarantee you the smell of that dish probably is amazing. All those ingredients, you know, curry powder, turmeric, very fragrant. Oh man.
Which is a blend of 5 spices. You blend the spices, you fry them, you add your chopped up potatoes, add water, boil the water off and let the potatoes break up. It's really heartwarming, very flavoursome, and it also reminds me of coming home from school and cooking with my mum. Learning to cook with my nanny, my mum's mum, who passed away a few years back.
My 2 favorite Brazilian comfort foods are cheese bread and feijoada. For cheese bread, there's definitely not an occasion. It's just everywhere, all the time. You can eat it at any time of the day. It's without a doubt the food that I miss the most because it's just the perfect snack. Feijoada is basically a giant black bean soup. It's definitely something that I grew up eating, and it's very iconic in Brazil. Almost everyone eats it.
My favorite comfort food has to be full, which is fava beans. And it's usually served hot, and it's really easy to make, so that's why we make it all the time. It contains tomatoes, onions, some people put tahina in it. We put in it a lot of spices. Usually people eat it with pita bread. It's my favorite comfort food because over the summer my grandpa would make it for breakfast a lot, so I'd wake up and it would be there. So it reminds me a lot of home.
Nice.
As social beings, social distancing may not be easy. Let's do what we can and make the most of it by enjoying our favorite comfort foods. Let us know what your favorite comfort food is and why in the comment section below.
Those meatballs though. Yeah man, as always, I really enjoyed that. When it comes to the food videos, these are probably one of my favorites to react to. So many delicious looking dishes in there. If I had to pick a few, the grilled cheese, I know, out of all of these crazy options, the grilled cheese was a favorite. The I believe it was the Colombian one, where it was like the chopped seasoned and fried pork or meat or lamb, I can't remember which one it was, or the Vietnamese dish as well. It was almost like a ramen-y looking dish, and oh god, to be honest, all of them were really good. All of them were very good. It's amazing how, you know, these dishes have been handed down for like generations, hundreds if not thousands of years. Really fascinating stuff. Really just shows you how, you know, interesting human beings really are. Thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, turn on bell notifications, and keep throwing the recommendations my way. I know I say it all the time, but they genuinely help me out, because if I know you enjoyed watching something, I'll definitely enjoy reacting to it. So like, subscribe, turn on bell notifications, keep throwing the recommendations, and I'll catch you in the next one.